Okay, so we're going to be having a discussion today, and as you can tell by this Battlefront 2 gameplay, we are going to be talking about the new Star Wars thing going on. And I thought Star Wars was on a roll, and I thought they could do no wrong because I liked Rebels, I liked the continuation of Clone Wars, the Clone Wars. It had a bit of episodes I didn't like, but for the most part, I'd say it's a good show. Um, I liked Bad Batch. It was alright, felt like a retread of Mandalorian. But Mandalorian is the main thing that made me come back to Star Wars, because after the Han Solo movie turned out predictably, I left Star Wars completely. The third of the new trilogy and the Han Solo movie made me leave Star Wars. But Mandalorian was so good, I came back to Star Wars. And just like in an abusive relationship, I thought Star Wars could change, but Star Wars was not wanting to change because we've gotten two extremely mediocre projects back to back. That being Book of Boba Fett, aka Crime Lord in a Desert, and Obi-Wan, aka Taken, but in a desert. And I shit you not, it basically is just Taken. Like, they've made Obi-Wan, ironically, Liam Neeson, who played his master in the fucking prequel movies. So a very befitting comparison. But, my problems with Obi-Wan are the same problems everyone else is having. It could have been, at worst, just a mediocre movie, a mediocre show, and I would have been fine with that. Being mediocre isn't that bad. Like, Boba Fett exists. It's not that interesting, but it exists. And I wouldn't say I hate it. But I hate Obi-Wan. I hate the Obi-Wan show, and Obi-Wan's my favorite Star Wars character. But I actually hate the Obi-Wan show. Because not only does it disregard the continuity made by Dave Filoni, who made a lot of the other Star Wars stuff I like, but it disregards the continuity from George Lucas himself. So I actually hate the Obi-Wan show because it disrespects the people who built the franchise. And that's the reason why I hated the Han Solo movie. That's the reason why I hated the new trilogy. Because it constantly disrespects what came before it and belittles the cast that it's using. And that's the main reason why I don't like it. But with Obi-Wan, Episode 1 was boring. Episode 1 was just fucking Obi-Wan doing a job, not liking the job, but still working there. It was alright. Like, it could have been worse. It showed Luke for like 5 seconds, which is how I would prefer any legacy characters appearing in this be, that they appear for like maybe 5 or 10 seconds and then fuck off. But in the episode 1, we already start to see some problems with it, and that being that they have changed how Obi-Wan views the world, and they've changed how Obi-Wan behaves. So Obi-Wan is in hiding, that's true, but he is still a Jedi even when he's in hiding. And Jedi are heroic people by nature. It's a part of their fucking indoctrination. So to have Obi-Wan tell another Jedi who comes to the planet seeking him for help to just go and die, basically, it's very unheroic of him. You think Obi-Wan would, instead of giving him a nihilist talk like Luke did in the new Star Wars movies, you think Obi-Wan would remind him, I sent everyone away so the Empire wouldn't kill you. If you all start uniting as a force against the Empire, they will kill you. Now is not the time to fight them. We wait for the New Hope. Like, that should have been something he said. He should have told him to go and wait, not to just go back to the cantina, where they're looking to murder him. And shock of all shocks, the Jedi that he tells to go away ends up getting caught and murdered. And that's the main thing I want to talk about to begin with, is that in the trailers, it showed a bunch of Jedi hunters looking for Obi-Wan on Tatooine, but that was actually spliced up. They were looking for a different Jedi who went to Tatooine, and made it seem like it was Obi-Wan in the trailers, but in reality, they didn't come to Tatooine looking for Obi-Wan. They came to Tatooine looking for someone else, and Obi-Wan gets involved through Leia. In Episode 2, we see that, with the whole fucking Leia thing, is that Leia is kidnapped because, and I shit you not, they knew that Obi-Wan was friends with her adoptive father, so they thought by kidnapping her, it might just bring Obi-Wan out of hiding to save her. And that is a very convoluted plan, because Obi-Wan knew Bail Organa, but he was not close to him. Like, they knew of each other, but that's about it. Like, you could have literally kidnapped anyone that knew of Obi-Wan and tried to do this stupid plan. And it still would have turned out the same because the plot needs Obi-Wan to show up, so this is the excuse they're going with. So the goal is to save fucking Leia and bring her back. Leia in this show is just like Leia always, and I'm tired of people complaining about her. Like, one of the biggest complaints I've heard people say with the new Star Wars Obi-Wan show is that Leia is annoying. And I'm like, I don't know what fucking media you were watching where Leia wasn't an annoying piece of shit, but I want to know. Because in the first movie, Luke goes to save her, and she immediately calls him short. She says, "Aren't you short to be a stormtrooper?" She insults Han Solo constantly, despite him trying to rescue her and help her. Leia is a jerk. Leia is a know-it-all jerk. She was always a jerk. That's her characterization. It's like calling Luke whiny. Yes, that's part of their characterization. You can complain about it, but they're keeping them in character by having them be whiny and unlikable at times. Characters need flaws. I will never complain about them keeping the Lucas characters in character. So eventually, they decide that they want to introduce a new Inquisitor who's a Jedi Hunter. And she is an African-American Inquisitor. I wouldn't mind that. I don't care. I'm not offended. I never want to fucking bring race or anything into it. It's not her race I'm mad about. It's not her gender I'm mad about. It's what she does that I'm mad about. So immediately, she starts disrespecting the other Inquisitors. And then, by her, second appearance, she kills the Grand Inquisitor. And the Grand Inquisitor is supposed to be stronger than all of them. He was a temple guard for the Jedi Temple. He was someone who devoted his whole life to the Force. And this young kid, this student, is able to immediately murder him.
Yeah, that's fucking bullshit.
And the thing that gets me mad about him dying is not that he's a loser and he died. It's the fact that he was supposed to die in Rebels. And as far as we know, Star Wars Rebels is canon. So that means that this is a full-on conviction. And I've heard some wacky theories about how they're going to bring him back. Either they're going to give him cybernetics, they're going to raise him from the dead, or the stupidest theory that he has an identical twin or some type of identical-looking man who is just going to take over his place. That is probably the stupidest theory I've heard. So, I don't know which one it's going to be. It could be any of them, really. But people are thinking he's going to come back. I disagree. I don't think he's going to come back. I think that is his end, and you'll just have to accept either Rebels is non-canon, or you will have to accept that Obi-Wan is non-canon. But I'll talk more about that in a second. So she immediately kills him. No epic battle. No struggle. She fucking lightsabers him in the chest and he's dead. Immediately. This guy who trained his whole life to be the best of the best Jedis dies immediately. To a kid.
Yeah, and how is this supposed to be, gripping for Star Wars fans?
I don't know.
Even new ones coming in, surely I'm guessing they'd have seen some of the others, or they'd go back and rewatch the other ones if they're just getting into it and be like, you know what, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they do that?
And the thing that makes me laugh the most is, in the episode that he died, I checked the credits to see if Dave Filoni was involved, because Dave Filoni is the guy who popularized him. He's the one who wrote Rebels. He's the one who fucking made the Inquisitors relevant. Dave Filoni was not involved in the episode, but they gave him a thanks in the credits. They thanked him while ruining his character. That's all you
Thanks,
get, is a
man.
thank you. So,
Thanks for making this character that we destroyed.
he's dead, and Obi-Wan is going on an adventure to save Leia. And in the third episode, they decide to bring in Darth Vader. One thing that's important is that if this show actually cared about the original trilogy and actually cared about the universe that they're adapting, they would know that Vader basically confirms that him and Obi-Wan have not fought since Mustafar when he got his fucking body mutilated by Obi-Wan. And they immediately disregard that. In the original trilogy, he says, when I last saw you, I was the student. Now I am the master. And then Obi-Wan responds, you are nothing but a master of evil. So that basically confirms that they have not fought since the fucking episode 3. They have not fought for over 20 years. That is immediately disregarded so Vader can be angsty. And that's the most sad part about this is Vader didn't even get a cool fight. He got an angsty fight. Like, there's a moment where he shit talks Obi-Wan and insults him, pointing out how he failed him and stuff, and how it's his fault that he's evil now and stuff. Lame, stupid villain speeches. Nothing like Vader gives. And then to make it even worse, there's a moment where Vader lights the sand on fire and starts dragging Obi-Wan through the sand, basically telling him how does it feel to be burning alive. So Vader is now really edgy and angsty, and this is not how Vader acts. Like, how Vader acts is, he immediately murders you. Like, Vader is not this type of person. And the funny thing is that Dave Filoni, when doing Rebels, which this is spoiler territory, heavy spoiler territory for Rebels, and is something I care about, so I will give you spoiler warnings. But when in Rebels, Vader comes up against his old apprentice, Ahsoka, he does not taunt her like this. He does not do anything like this. When he taunts her about the Jedi. When he talks to her, he does not prove that he's Anakin. He does not bring up any of that stuff. He instead immediately tries to murder her, because Vader at his prime is a murderer. He's a monster.
Yeah.
And this is still Vader in his prime, and they expect me to believe that he would be outsmarted like this. And the thing that makes it really stupid is that the climax ends, because you know Obi-Wan has to escape. The climax ends with Obi-Wan, like, you know, the fire, like the sand lights on fire again, and Obi-Wan literally just gets carried out of the battle scene. And for some reason, Vader, despite being in a robotic suit, cannot cross the fire. And to make this even sillier, they have a stormtrooper yell out, "There's no way across." Just to make you fucking feel like, oh man, there really is no way across. Meanwhile, you can see that the fire stops at a certain point. But a stormtrooper yelled, "There's no way across." So I guess there's no way across.
That's fucking really stupid. What?
So
Why?
it's already bad enough to where they're doing a cliche thing of Star Wars character guards and protects child, which has been done 3 times now. But to make it even worse, they don't even care about showing us new planets. Like, one of the good things about The Mandalorian is we get to see interesting planets. One of the good things about Star Wars, period, is that we get to see interesting planets. In the Obi-Wan show, we get a desert, a city, and another desert. And we don't get to stay in the city for long. But I will admit, the city was the best looking location so far. But we barely get to be in it, and then we're in another desert.
You're gonna be in the desert and you're gonna fucking like it.
And the reality why Disney keeps setting all these in a desert is not to pay homage to Star Wars. It's fucking cheaper to film in the Arizona desert than it is the fucking blue or green screen.
Yeah,
But
but that they should be making more than enough money to be able to do that. It's fucking Disney and it's fucking Star Wars.
I've been shitting on a lot of stuff with the new Obi-Wan thing. So let me give a few compliments. One of the things I'll say is that the practical effects are really good. When they do have sets, they look very convincing. I like the look of it. I like the look of the aliens, just like I have in every new Disney thing. They use a lot of practical effects and then put CGI over that, which ends up looking really good. It looks like there's a real world that's being lived in by real people. Another thing that I will compliment is the fact that at least when it shows the clone troopers, they're actually people in armor. Like in George Lucas's episode 2 and 3, when it showed the clone troopers, they were all CGI with just the actors' faces on all of them because it's one guy playing all the clones. And even when the faces weren't being shown, they were still all CGI. This new show, the Obi-Wan show, has a flashback to show the clone troopers, and they actually have people wearing suits. So it looks cool, it looks lived in, it looks like an actual battle scene. And
That is cool, then yeah.
with that compliment, I have to complain again though.
Oh.
Disney is fetishizing Order 66. Order 66 is the order that caused the Jedis to be wiped out. It was the order to kill all the Jedis. In everything Disney has done, they've had Order 66 in it. Everything except for the sequel trilogy. Fucking Book of Boba Fett, fucking, I'm pretty sure The Mandalorian, I could be wrong on The Mandalorian. Only a few movies and projects didn't have it though. Like Book of Boba Fett did, this new Obi-Wan show did, the Rebels, no, I think Rebels had a flashback to it, and then, I'm trying to remember all the other ones, but there's a ton of modern Disney stuff, especially recently, where they just keep showing Order 66 over and over and over again. And I get it, it's relevant sometimes, but this time it didn't feel relevant, because the Obi-Wan show starts with a group of kids in Order 66, and not Obi-Wan in Order 66, because we've already seen that. So I'm gonna call it now, the group of kids we see during Order 66, one of them is the Black Inquisitor woman. One of them is her.
Probably.
And the show
Yeah.
is not an Obi-Wan show, it's her show. It's her show. She's the main character.
It's
We've
so
been lied
dumb call it an
to.
Obi-Wan.
We've been lied
Yeah.
to. We've been tricked. Obi-Wan is the obstacle she has to overcome to get Vader's approval. She's the main character and not Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is seen as incompetent and cowardly, and she's seen as
What?
competent and brave. She's the one that kills the Grand Inquisitor. She's the one that's trying to stop Obi-Wan. She's the one that has motivation and reason for doing what she's doing. Obi-Wan's doing it because a friend asked him to. She's the one with
I
drive
cannot.
and motivation, not the main character.
What do you mean they made him fucking cowardly? It's fucking Obi-Wan, what?
Yeah, he runs away from fights. He barely
Right.
fights Vader. And I understood in episode 4 why he didn't want to fight Vader, because he was just trying to distract Vader so Luke and friends could escape. But there's no reason for him to not fight Vader. He can say, I don't want to fight Vader, that's fine, that's in character. But him actively running away from Vader? That's not in character. And it wasn't even like Vader had a group of people like right next to him trying to murder him. Vader fought him one-on-one at first, and Obi-Wan was running away. Most of the conflicts
does
he's
not
been
sound like
getting in,
Obi-Wan.
he's been running away.
That does not sound like Obi-Wan. Why would they... Do they just not like him as a character or some shit? Why would they do that?
I honestly think, I'm not gonna fucking go on the anti-SJW route or anything. I'm just gonna say I honestly think they didn't want to write an Obi-Wan show. They wanted to write a show about the Inquisitor lady. All the fucking trailers shows the Inquisitors. The main fucking plot is about the Inquisitors. She immediately kills the Grand Inquisitor, and knowing that would contradict with canon, it's a show about the Inquisitors. And Obi-Wan is the target, so the Inquisitor can do her thing.
Being dumb. They should have just done a stick to the Inquisitor show instead of having Obi-Wan just being there.
Well, here's the thing. If you say, what's her face of the Inquisitors, and that's the show, no one's gonna fucking watch that. But if you call it Obi-Wan, then people will watch it. And one of the things that I want to point out before we end this is that Obi-Wan has been in production hell for a while. Obi-Wan, the show, has been through the ringer. And I think it was because the guy who played Obi-Wan knew that this show was not an Obi-Wan show, and forced them to make as many changes as he could to try to redeem it. But the thing is, if something is completely shit story-wise, there's no fixing it. Like, this isn't the Sonic movie where you can update the model. No matter how many reshoots you do, the plot is still going to be like this. At this point, the only way they could try to fix the plot and have minimal plot holes is if they revive the Grand Inquisitor. But even then, they still have the plot hole with Obi-Wan fighting Vader at all.
It really sounds like they should have just made their own fucking alternate universe or some shit with their all new cast, all new characters. Because them having Obi-Wan's name attached to it and making it the Obi-Wan show, you're getting people hyped. They think they're getting an Obi-Wan show. They start watching it, they realize they've been lied to, people are going to drop off. People are not going to tell their friends to watch it. People are going to tell this is other people, this is not an Obi-Wan show. Don't bother with watching it. Don't waste your time.
And the thing that gets me
They would
mad
probably
is,
make more money if they were to just do their own fucking thing instead of lying to people.
the thing that gets me mad is, it's like, they have been hinting that Obi-Wan's master is going to appear. But we are 3 episodes into a limited series, and he has not appeared. So I think the one thing that people are hyped to see is Obi-Wan's master come back after all this time. He's not going to do it till, like, the final episode.
Probably not. Yeah. Seems like something just to fucking bait people to keep them watching too.
I will make an apology video if that woman dies. If the Inquisitor lady dies at the end and they bring back the Grand Inquisitor, I will make a video saying I am wrong and I'm sorry. But if that lady does become the Grand Inquisitor, or her whole thing is to fucking suck up to Vader and she ends up winning in the end, if villainy wins in the end, I'm making a video saying I told you so about Obi-Wan. Because this isn't the Obi-Wan show, it's her show. And the main character wins in the end, always. So she's gonna fucking win. She's gonna get what she wants. The only victory Obi-Wan's gonna get is that Leia gets returned to her fucking father. That's it.
Villainy can't be allowed to win though. That's not how fucking things work. People don't really care for that kind of shit.
Well, I like the villains, so my my awesome character is going to win. And that is how it's gonna go.